Welcome back. We are still getting over it. Bennett Foddy is still here. Haven't heard from him in a little while. And I'm still just chatting away to myself, basically. One of the reasons I wanted to start streaming and putting content out there is, as I said before, that I've got a lot of stream of consciousness thoughts that I think are worth recording, worth putting out there, but I don't have any... I'm not under any illusions that they're fully formed or ready for the outside world. So weird that I'm putting them into the outside world, but I don't know, the internet is this strange, anonymous, often not very safe place, but it's reaching such a pool of people, such a large number of people, that it has the capacity to oh, there we go. No. To find the right people to help grow an idea, and to find people who want to make an idea their own. Maybe not even knowingly, like, you know, if you're interested in something I say and you take it and you go on and you write a thing, or you draw a thing, build a thing, do a thing, say a thing, I don't think you should feel under any credit to cite me or acknowledge me. I think that if you do, great, awesome. But it's not really about... That's misunderstanding where creativity comes from. Like, creativity we like to assign to one person. We like to say, this person made this person had this idea. And often, sometimes there is a single person who can be credited with an idea. That's not going to work. But equally often, let's just... The person we might want to credit is a figurehead for the idea. It's just that we want to give the idea a name, and so we pin it to one person. And equally often, even when the idea is singular, like I think a lot about Einstein, Albert Einstein, and his theory of relativity, which was, by basically every metric, a new idea. I don't know exactly what came before, but like, I know roughly what people were thinking about. There may have been people having similar ideas beforehand. May have been people saying, hey, look, gravity isn't quite working. But even if he came up with his idea on his own, he didn't come up with his idea on his own. It's just that his collaborators, his inspirators, weren't necessarily scientists. His inspiration probably didn't come from physics, because that's not really how new ideas happen. Like, that's the incremental progress idea. And incremental progress certainly exists in science and technology and every creative form, but it's not the only way in which progress is made. Progress is made in great leaps forward. And it is made by small groups of people doing a particular thing. Not always, and that's not the only way it's made, but when it's made like that, hey, it's weird how much I still struggle with this bit. When it's made like that, it's really hard to see the people who should be getting the credit. Like, if you... Not that the assignment of credit is the most important or useful thing. Hey, old friend, Mr. Barbecue. Let's do a trick. Nope. Let's do the same trick, but this time, no. This is a difficult trick. I'm not going to do this trick. Let's just do the old-fashioned way. people who inspire those great leaps forward are huge numbers of people doing incredibly diverse things, because ideas and how they come into your head are completely chaotic. Learning is chaotic. Invention is chaotic. To create something new that hasn't been there before, your inspiration could be anything. If you watch A Beautiful Mind, which is about John Nash, one of the creators of game theory, amongst other things, a mathematician and eventually effectively economist at Princeton. One thing he credits with helping him understand what he's working on as he's trying to put it into words is just seeing pigeons moving across the quad. And starting to think, hey, does their motion have a logic?
Pain is an element of blame. It cannot recollect when it began, or if there were a day when it was not. It has no future but itself. Its infinite realms contain its past, enlightened to perceive new periods of pain. Emily Dickinson.
But even those pigeons are a bit of a red herring, because we might think, John Nash, inspired by pigeons. But no, pigeons were just one of the things that he could name, one of the few things that were clear enough inspirations. I feel like I'm going back up there, so maybe I could just jump straight up there. That moment I feel like it's pretty much solved. I just got to stick it out as far as I can. Those pigeons were yet another partial influence. Okay, so I can move basically anywhere on here. They're pretty sticky. I have a feeling if I start getting my weight above them, I might be going to lose it. I'm wondering if I can, with just very careful motion, get my hammer beneath me here. That's pretty good. And pop. Nope. That seems to be the way. I feel like I've got a
where hope is coldest and despair just sits.
A way forward there. But it's so difficult when our influences come from 1,000 different places to name the place it came from. It's our instinct to do it because it feels like it helps us understand it. It feels like it helps us understand the inspiration, the idea, to be able to name its genesis. But I don't know if ideas necessarily do have a genesis. Here, my ideas about how to move this mallet are so difficult to put into words and don't come from any particular place. They don't have any particular genesis, but rather are the sum total of the back and forth between my emotions, the reward it gives me, the way my brain reinforces based on that reward, and the eventual ability to internalize those emotions and do something not by choice, not because I've decided that it's how I'm going to get up here, but because it's just how I get up here. As I throw my mallet out as I'm falling, that is a learned response, something that I've decided to do, but equally, I'm not thinking, hey, I'm going to throw my mallet out. We might think that ideas come from a conscious place, but I don't think they do. I think the root of the idea has to come from the subconscious. Whoops, daisy. And it's in that subconscious space that just having thoughts and ideas in there. I'll just go over here. having those thoughts and ideas there in that subconscious space allow us to start putting them together in new combinations. Each and every person has a different combination of ideas in their head. Some people have arguably more. I would say the people who open their eyes to a creative world, whether it's through travel or reading or even just introspection. I don't think there need be a material route for zeitgeist, for creative inspiration, but we all have our own chaotic set of...
Even as the stone of the fruit must break that is hard to stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy. Khalil Gibran.
It's that collection of abstract thoughts that we build our worldview on. It's random, it's chaotic, and it's completely unique. It's more of a fingerprint than a fingerprint. And so, yeah, when somebody does truly genre-changing, paradigm-shifting, when someone really causes a phase shift in thought, it's coming from them, but it's also coming from all the things that fed into them.
Showing patience, and then attacking, scraping, then flapping, snagging.
Nice little poem there. So, the pigeons are the collaborator on game theory. They are... Whoops! This slide, happily, is pretty sticky. Occasionally I find myself wishing that the materials behave like they actually would, and that something like this slide, you know, you start hitting this with this hammer with a bit of a spike, you're going to make a dent. It's weirdly difficult, this bit. Although often difficulty comes not where things are hard, but where things are expected to be easy. You can quote me on that in your next game, Bennett Foddy. So that's why I've taken, if anyone watching this ever reads the things I write, I've taken to calling them, and I'm cautious that this is appropriation of some kind. I'd be interested to hear anyone's thoughts, but I've taken to calling them Zen koans, long-form Zen koans, by which I hope I'm representing the genre well enough. What I mean by that is that they are purposefully abstract and obtuse, not to actively tell people what to think and how to think, but just to put thoughts in the head. Excellent. No! Oh, that one hurt more than the last ones have for some reason. Yeah. I think while you were away, I even worked out how I was going to do the stairs. Off we fall. But because this mixture of thoughts, this mixture of influences and creative instincts that is going into our subconscious is so random, we might think that, it doesn't matter, we can put anything in there. But I think that's mistaking randomness for meaninglessness. I think there's lots that we can ask of the media we consume and the orators we listen to do the most to encourage that good kind of creativity, the kind which finds new ways to improve on our state. Whether that's our personal state, whether we find effective ways to get rich or feel happy, or whether it's our collective state, maybe even our spiritual state. I'm very much a rationalist, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe in spirituality. I just think that spirituality has to be derived from a rational world, and there's plenty of scope for that. I think if I spent enough time talking about maths with someone of a classical faith, they may well turn around and end up saying that I have a faith in a kind of mathematical world, and that isn't not true. There's a concept, a very ancient school of thought that is resurgent now called mathematical monism, and in some ways I would see this as the biggest remaining question in physics. It asks whether or not you can explain and understand the world. This rock is really sticky, unlike some. Through mathematics alone, whether mathematics can explain, is telling us about a full and real picture of the world, or if mathematics just happens to be a beautifully close description to the world. Is mathematics a useful tool, or is it deeper than that? Is it a truth? Oi!
This is the hour of death. Remember it outlived, as if freezing persons recollect the snow. First chill, then stupor, then let go. Emily Dickinson.
Wow. Some of the quotes we're getting in here, I'm like, that's pretty light. I've got to think on that one.
No.
I'm not sure if Bennett Foddy has in his head such a humanitarian goal as I am claiming to have and experimenting with. I'm not sure if I 100% believe that I have it here. Of adding new thoughts to the pool, pushing forward human progress. Yep, I said that that's what I'm doing by streaming. But he certainly has an understanding of putting the abstract together, distracting the mind, and using that coupled with emotion and experience as a way to heighten an experience and allow for more growth. I choose to think that this game, its purpose is for me to grow. I haven't played any of the Souls-like genre, or with the exception maybe of Hollow Knight, which I didn't find that difficult ever, but certainly takes a lot of tropes from it. I think maybe I've played some games which people see as very difficult in other ways. I'd be interested to know where the groupthink is on how difficult The Witness is, for example. Or Return of the Obra Dinn, which I absolutely adored when I played recently. And there is so much growth in these games. It is a pure experience of growth, mixed, in the case of this game, with an abstract experience of a strange other world. That's going down the hole.
The pain in knowing this has happened to you. The pain in knowing what your tears...
That's going down the hole.
But through all this, I feel your pain. Octavia Hawkins Richardson.
To anyone who hasn't seen it, a lot of me playing this game is contextualised by me watching Bennett Foddy play this in an interview. I can't remember what the interview is for. It's some online publication. It's a YouTube interview. You can find it on YouTube. It's a good interview. I recommend it. And he is being asked these questions whilst actually playing the game, and he's good at the game, which I found quite heartening. You could imagine, and this does happen, people making games like this that they themselves cannot play. I got really into one point watching people play Super Mario Maker levels. If you think it's about falling down the gap, then perhaps you've misunderstood the game. Although perhaps it is about falling down the gap, and perhaps I've misunderstood the game. Yeah, I think that would be pretty good, especially with a timestamp. So there's the kind of question of like, how often will this happen? Like when it happens when I've been playing the game for an hour, you're like, yeah, that's fair. But as we approach the 3-hour mark, what is an embarrassing number of times to have fallen down the gap? Actually, this slide I find more embarrassing than falling down the gap. I think this slide is a lot easier than I'm making it. I think there's no reason to struggle on this. Okay, back to the stairs. I quite like my tactic of getting to them from down here.
I'm crushing your dreams and dashing your hopes. You're
Says
climbing
me,
a
not
mountain
making
with
it.
a hammer and no ropes.
My partner recently, while cycling, was basically the cause of a crash. It wasn't ride on the end and pogo jump to it. I have done that a couple of times, and that has certainly worked. I like the swing up method, but then I don't know why I'm sticking to my guns, because you have completed this game many times, including speedrunning it. Whoa! I wonder, like...
The mountain seems no more a soulless thing,
Close.
but rather as a shape of ancient fear. In darkness, in the winds of chaos born, amid the lordless heavens thundering, a presence crouched, enormous and austere, before whose feet the mighty waters mourn. George Sterling.
Good quote. I'm not sure it's relevant. There we go. Always on the edge. I mean, I know that the speedrun record is probably something like 5 minutes. But I've never worked out a way to get from that penultimate ledge onto this one. Maybe that's a teaching opportunity to teach me about being willing to skip a platform. Can I get there from up here? Let's try it. Like, we could see this instead. 1 minute 17. I'm going to watch that after this. That's crazy. That is actually insane. Oh, just as a warning, I can smell dinner being cooked. So, I will eventually have to head out and stop playing this hell. Which I'm not finding it as that. I'm finding it quite zen. Is what I'm telling myself. Don't worry, even if I see the speed skips in the thing, I think I'm going to stick to doing it the old-fashioned ways. Why did I bring up my partner having a bike crash? I should explain how she did this. This makes it sound like she might be a really awful cyclist or something. It was pulling out behind a white van, a parked white van, so a tall vehicle basically, and not completely not her fault, but I don't think anyone would hold it too much against her for doing it. I've come to really like this moment. The tension, but the basically knowing I can do it. Like, this this ledge is actually pretty forgiving as long as you're not moving too quickly. That's where I want to be. Oh, that was a terrible pogo. Because you can catch it on either side, and even if you fall back down, on the right you've got something to catch you. Oh, that's nice. Oh, you can even sit up here. But obviously, so another cyclist was coming along. They couldn't see each other until the moment she pulled out, and just the front of the bike really in the way. They collided. He wasn't going too fast. They might have been able to see each other long enough to have some time to slow down a little bit. But I bring it up because after the crash she was recognisably a bit shaken. I don't know if she's been on a bike since then, and it's hard. It's hard after failure always to go back. It's one of the most important skills when learning a new thing is learning to like the failure. I walk away now from... So I've been cycling all my life. Grew up cycling school in London, which is a bit of a gambit. It wasn't very far, but drivers in London are not too friendly. They're not bad. I've certainly cycled in worse places. But I've had plenty of crashes in my time, and they still scare me. They're still painful and often embarrassing. You walk away from them thinking, oh, didn't need to do that. But I've come to quite enjoy them, and that's really helped me learn from them. Nope. Now, there's probably an argument. Sometimes I also enjoy them because after a while, you learn that the crash is okay. where you learn how to make it okay. There's an argument that I probably don't need to keep on struggling here. That I could just slow myself down, really think through what I'm doing. I could probably even learn how to take it one by one rather than... Like, I've got my quick way up. Well, I get this. Oops, no. Well, I get that first one. It's really just about staying close to this wall, isn't it? I get this one, and then I just kind of try and go. Staying close to the wall and never pushing against it. Like that first one's forgiving, but all these other ledges... hard work. Learning to code in enjoyment and retrospection on failure into teaching and into any form of learning. Like, I think we can admit that most learning that we'll do, each of us in our lifetime, is the majority of it self-taught. In fact, there's an argument that we only can self-teach, that a teacher is only a learning tool as much as a textbook is a learning tool. I wonder, should I be doing this a different way? Maybe I should. I've been doing the windmill technique, but I want to try a different technique. And here's a relatively safe place to be trying it. And that's being beneath. Yeah, that worked pretty well. And then pulling myself up and trying not to swing the hammer around. So that my motion is vertical instead of cyclical. This one I think it's worth doing it this way. Yeah, and maybe I should be trying more kind of pull pogo. Or even actually, frankly, at this point, actual pogo. When we were young, this is completely assuming everyone is roughly the same age as me, which almost certainly isn't true. There was the habit of, not too much, but going into school and talking about how we played the video games we played. But overall, it was a pretty... Although we did share, the experience was more our own than... was more singular than communal. Let's... Whoop. Great. And... Whoop. Yep. We might get help and tips from our friends, but...
Dinner?
Oh, yeah. I am being called to dinner just as I've hit 5 viewers, which might be a record. So thank you, the extra few people who just tuned in. Welcome to the stream where or if you're watching on YouTube, the YouTube series, where I talk about stuff whilst playing games, because that's what you do in a Let's Play. But I'm going to argue that there might be equally esoteric people, but I'm amongst the more esoteric chatters. This seems like the perfect place to stop. I'm back on my old friend, that jump. So, yeah, if you've just tuned in, if you're one of these 5 people... Oh, no, you dropped that down to 2. Oh, well, it was fun while it lasted. I hope you enjoyed watching. This has been Getting Over It of Bennett Foddy. I hope all this waxing philosophical... As I've said before, it's not really meant to be completely intelligible and tangible, but just to be a thought dump of thoughts to, if they seem worthwhile, if they seem worth thinking about, take and think about and take with you and expand and ride on, work on, think on, pay it forwards. Alright. Thanks so much, guys. I will see you when I see you.